at all that money, yeah, the money that they spend. Take another look now and take some time for hemp. I don't cut trees for paper, cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for hemp. Whoa, an acre of hemp makes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rent. Well, right now it's time for hemp.
Thank you for taking time for hemp. I'm your host, Casper-Leitch. You are listening to the live broadcast of Time for Hemp all around the world on Tumblr, SoundCloud, iTunes, and of course, iHeartRadio. We are live on the air, and we have as our joint guest today, Vivian McPeak, and we're also going to be adding to our conversation Paul Stanford. And Paul is the joint host of the big broadcast today. You're going to hear his phone ring, and he'll be answering in just a minute. And we're going to be talking about the Seattle Hemp Fest here on the big program. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning.
And we've got
realized
Vivian.
My ringer must have been turned off there. These darn cell phones.
All right, we got Vivian McPeak on the line, and we are live all around the world. And I want to remind people that we're no longer just a small little radio show known as Time for Hemp. We are now a growing network of people with over 40 hosts that are producing over 65 hours of original content about the need to end prohibition. And we are found all over the internet. My joint host, Paul Stanford, and I are having a great joint conversation with one of our joint friends, Vivian McPeak. And anytime you hear the word joint on the big broadcast, nearly 2.5 million people all around the world pack their bongs, their pipes, their vaporizers, and roll up a joint to take time for hemp. And it's time for a joint meeting, gentlemen, so let's have that joint chat. Paul, I'll let you get on with the joint conversation with our joint friend while I smoke my joint here at Time for Hemp.
Hey, Vivian, I understand the pressure is mounting.
Yes, Paul. I just want to say, first of all, that I'm really happy to be able to join you guys today in your conversation because not only am I on Time for Hemp, but it's almost time for Hemp Fest.
Right. It's coming pretty quick, I know.
And yes, you're right. The pressure is definitely mounting. This is one of those times of year when you're feeling the heat. That train left the mountain about a year ago, and it's about to roll into the station, whether we're ready or not.
I understand. We've had tons of permitting problems with our city this year. We've had repeatedly a whole new set of hoops thrown in front of us every time we jump through one. So, in fact, our city here in Portland has said, Seattle is the example, and that our city in Portland said there is no cannabis smoking at the Seattle Hemp Fest. So it's kind of bizarre in that regard, but you just
they obviously haven't.
Have to.
Yeah. There's definitely you feel like Columbus sailing across a sea of red tape and bureaucracy, but. It's we do it because we have to, and I think that just like cannabis binds to the receptors in the people's brains, hemp fests and events like hemp stock bind to the freedom receptors in the brains of true patriots that value freedom, liberty, and justice.
Now, there are a lot of people who know that, Vivian, you are the founder of the Seattle Hemp Fest, but I'm sure there are still new listeners who are tuning in who might be a little unaware as to your history with the marijuana movement, so you might want to just give a quick hello to those people.
Well, yeah, I've had the privilege and the pleasure of being with Hemp Fest. It's our 23rd year now, and we started in a very humble little gathering of stoners and speakers at Volunteer Park in 1991, and we had about 500 people the first year. I remember going home after that, and we're like, did you see the crowd? It was huge! And And now we got 6 stages. We're about a mile and a half long on the Seattle waterfront, right under the iconic Space Needle. 120 bands, over 100 speakers, and about 400 arts, crafts, food, informational vendors, and a big, huge symposium tent that we have panel discussions and keynote presentations in and stuff like that. And you know, I have to say that the pressure's on us to shape-shift. You know, with legalization here in Washington State, at least, you know, quasi-legalization, the pressure's on HempFest to kind of shape-shift along with the way things are changing. And it's definitely going to be a very important year for us, since retail sales just opened up in the state of Washington, so popular that they ran out on like the first day. They ran out of pot. But I think the production's going to catch up with demand. Supply's going to catch up with demand really soon. And so, yeah, all eyes are going to be on us to not screw this up this year.
And I understand that you're also a Pacific Northwest musician. And are you in a band? Or are you performing solo?
You know, I played in bands for many years, for 20 years actually. And about 1996, I was in a band called Stickerbush here in Seattle over the course of the grunge period there. And you know, I just had to make a decision. I had to choose one or the other. You can do one thing 100%, two things 50%, and it breaks down from there. And I actually let the music go in 1996. I haven't really been professionally playing music since then.
Okay, and I've got one more question to toss in before I put the joint conversation back to Paul, and that is, Vivian, I've had a handful of people across the United States say, well, the Hemp Fest in Seattle is the biggest event, though I don't know why they're going to keep having it because it's legal there in Washington. There's really no reason to have the Hemp Fest, which you and I and Paul all know that's incorrect because of all the places that it's not. But how would you address that? I don't want to address that issue, as we say in Indiana, for you. I'll let you speak on your own behalf.
Yeah, well, you know, I think the Kettle Falls 5 would probably disagree with that, and that's 5 people in Kettle Falls, Washington, and eastern Washington, where it's not so friendly. They were facing 5 to 10 years in federal prison for running a medical marijuana dispensary that's completely legal in the state. And so, you know, we don't have to go to the other 48 states where pot's still illegal to find people that are still being ground underneath the meat grinder of cannabis prohibition. That would remind everybody that pot's not legal in Washington, pot's not legal in Colorado at all. It's federally legal in all 50 states and beyond. You know, if anything, we've certainly given a blow to the midriff of prohibition, but it's still alive and well and kicking and scratching and fighting and biting. And if anything, we need to ramp it up. You know, when you win a victory, you know, you win a battle, you don't leave the war. The war's not over. When you win a battle, you ramp it up because you want to win that war, and we haven't. We only won 2 battles out of many.
What I like to remind people is that in Washington, okay, now it's legal to have 28 grams, but when you get to 29 grams, it can still put you in jail. And when you get to 40 grams, you're still a felon. You know, so and you can't even grow one plant, you know, unless you have a medical marijuana permit. So that's not legalization. That's, you know, an advanced form of decriminalization. And it's a big step forward. You know, I had supported I-502 publicly, and I know it's a step forward for our movement, but I believe it wasn't very well written, and it could have been a lot better. But it is what it is, and it had major funding. You know, they spent almost $7 million on the whole campaign, and that makes a huge difference. So it really comes down to money. But there's still a lot of room for improvement. Don't you agree?
Oh, I completely 100% agree with you, Paul. You're dead on the money. You know, I-502, no one's ever defeated prohibition, marijuana prohibition, ever before, and there's no necessarily a right way to do it, but there's better ways to do it than others. I-502 won. They won. They did it fair and square. They deserve to be very proud of themselves. They broke the ice, and now it looks like the polar caps of prohibition are starting to melt pretty rapidly. But it wasn't perfect, and now the other states, in fact, I'd say Colorado's was better. You know, they can grow some pot in Colorado, from what I understand. They allowed the medical dispensaries. They allowed the medical dispensaries to just fold over into retail stores, and we didn't, which is why our rollout was so clunky and awkward. But that said, it's happening, and I think I think we all need to look for the good and celebrate the good, and then try to work to make it better. And so I completely agree with you on that, all those points, Paul.
Yeah, it's a little disappointing that people don't realize that, you still get to 40 grams and you're a felon. So you can't even have an ounce and a half. But it's good to be able to legally have an ounce. That's better than nothing by far. Most people don't carry around an ounce. But the prices that they came out with, I saw a great picture of you and your partner, Conti, coming out of the store with a bag there. How much did they charge you for those bags? And that, can you say?
Yeah, I can. I was about the fourth person in Seattle to buy legal marijuana right after City Attorney Pete Holmes and State Senator Jeannie Cole Wells bought their pot. I bought 4 grams for $80, so it was roughly $20 a gram. And that, to be honest, I paid $20 a gram 15 years ago. At a couple different times. So I don't think that's a completely outrageous price, especially for the convenience. But I don't think they're going to be able to compete with the black market unless they can really get it lower.
I've seen news reports in Colorado where black market salespeople were nearby some of the dispensaries trying to undercut their prices. Their price isn't quite as high as it is up there in Washington. Right across the river from us in Portland is Vancouver, Washington. There, the first day of sales, it was a 2-gram minimum and $66 for 2 grams, or $33 a gram was the total price. So, but then they ran out the next day. So, just shows that the demand is there. The demand is there. So, in all fairness, I think over time, as the supply chain starts to evolve and catches up with the demand, I would imagine that simple economics would bring those, and competition would bring those prices down. But, we're just going to have to wait and see. Time will tell. Yeah, competition is the key, I believe. If people are able to grow it in a field under the sunlight, then obviously the costs will come way down, and I believe the price will. I look forward to that.
Yeah. The other thing I want to say very quickly, if I can, Casper and Paul, is I just want to call out Paul Stanford and the the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation for once again being the presenting sponsor of Seattle Hemp Fest year after year after year. Our biggest supporters, really, in the entire cannabis movement. There's no doubt in my mind that Paul Stanford and the THC Foundation is the biggest supporter of Seattle Hemp Fest. So I just want to give you a very golden thank you and a nod for that.
Well, let me jump in there just a little bit more and toot that horn, Vivian. Not only is he a big sponsor of the Seattle Hemp Fest, this network that I've built by accident was about ready to implode because it was growing so fast, have so many hosts coming on board, that it became impossible for my business partner and I to handle it without it being lost. And Paul Stanford has stepped in and is taking over, and being the owner of the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network, and is going to do what he can to make certain that it thrives and grows and continues to be a huge voice all around the world. Paul Stanford is one of the reasons why the hemp movement is so strong and so loud all around the world.
Yeah, it's not only time for hemp, it's time for the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation.
That's right.
Well,
that's right.
We appreciate that. We continue to help patients all over the country. I was just in New England, went from Portland, Maine, down to New Jersey and points in between, and we're preparing to open up, medical clinics where doctors help patients get their state permits back there. And so it's a real honor to be able to help people and advance our cause at the same time. So.
And Paul's pretty clever about a lot of things. He does a show on Friday nights called Cannabis Common Sense, and I'm the joint host on that. And on there we talk about things that happened yesterday, Paul, and the House. We got we got banking now available to the marijuana movement, and I think some other piece of legislation passed that made it wonderful for the movement, didn't it?
I haven't heard the latest details, but I'm happy. I saw that there's going to be a vote. I'm happy to hear it pass. That's a good thing. I know the Republicans were trying to stop that. So it's definitely a step in the right direction.
Well, okay, I guess you did
Vivian,
miss it.
Go ahead. Were you going to say something, Kat?
What's that?
No, I said I guess you did miss it then. Yeah, we have banking available to the marijuana industry. The House did pass that yesterday, and everybody's saying that it's going to be a big turnaround now for us.
That'll be good. Now
Nice.
it's got to go through the Senate, I guess. Get signed by the president, or I know it's just a rider on some other bill. So hope it can make it through the whole process. It's a long process to get through the legislative landmines and get something into law, but that would be a huge step forward for certain. I personally have had several banks close our accounts just unexpectedly, and they say, hey, we can't tell you why we're closing your account. We're just going to close your account just very unexpectedly, sometimes with 6 figures in the bank the day after payday, and screwed up the employees cashing their paychecks when they all get stamped referred to maker, which is kind of like getting a bounce check. But I've been the brunt of some of these, the bank's fear, even though, we don't sell marijuana, we just help patients get medical marijuana permits. But when you have an organization called the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, you can expect some blowback from these banks sometimes.
Paul, Seattle Hemp Fest experienced the same thing. And we tried to support the Occupy movement by moving to a credit union. And we walked in there and they're like, I'm sorry, we can't do business with you. And we're like, why? It's just because you have the word hemp in your name. And we're like, well, what's the problem with that? And they go, well, we have a policy against that. And we're like, can we see the policy? And they said, no. And we're like, hemp's legal. You can go buy hemp milk right now, hemp powder, hemp protein powder at the store, And it took us several months, actually, arguing with their corporate offices, and they finally relented. And then we found out that they wouldn't let us, we couldn't use, that the limits were so small that we couldn't operate our businest. So we had to stay with, because we purchased so much money's worth of supplies and services, in a day for Hemp Fest, and in a week, that we're over their limit. So we actually had to stay with a big central bank.
Yeah, I've experienced that a number of times, and I first had our banks closed, a U.S. bank in 2007. Basically all of them out there, Vivian, Chase, Bank of America, even though now we're back with Bank of America, and others as well.
Well, we're going into a commercial break now, and here is the press release put out by the Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. Bill amendment would remove Treasury funding for penalties of state legal businesses. Yesterday, meaning on the date of July, 16th, the House of Representatives voted 231 to 119 to pass a bipartisan bill amendment introduced by Representatives Denny Heck and Ed Perltman and Barbara Lee and Dana Roshberger that would prevent the Treasury Department from using federal funds to penalize banks and other financial institutions providing services to state legal marijuana businesses. Banking has been a major sticking point for marijuana businesses trying to operate legally since through the Treasury Department issues bank guidelines on how to properly report transactions with marijuana businesses in February. Many financial institutions fear they might be charged with money laundering if they worked with businesses dealing with a substance still illegal under federal law. As a result, many marijuana businesses were forced to conduct transactions in cash, creating huge public safety concerns. Though this isn't a flashy win, as some other drug policy reforms of recent years have been, banking regulations have been one of the most significant obstacles to creating a well-run, safe, legal market. This is a huge victory for those who care about smart regulations and control of marijuana. For supporters, the vote was an echo of a similar bill amendment that was passed by the House in May, eliminating funding for DEA raids on state-licensed medical marijuana businesses and patients. With that said, we're going to take a commercial break and listen to a song called Pot Fest, and then come back and take a whole lot more Time for Hemp. You are listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. Please share us with your friends.
THCF Medical Clinics are the premier physicians clinic in the United States. THCF has offices all across the United States from Hawaii to Michigan. THCF Medical Clinics has helped approximately 150,000 patients obtain their medical marijuana permits to legally possess, grow, and use medical marijuana. If you have chronic pain, multiple sclerosis, or any other neurological degenerative disease, or if you have any gastrointestinal disorders such as GERD, irritable bowel syndrome, or if you have AIDS, cancer, spastic disorders, seizure disorders, or glaucoma, call us at 1-800-723-0188 or visit us online at hemp.org. Again, the number is 1-800-723-0188 and the site is hemp.org.
In need of a ganja vacation? Blaze away.
Don't criticize it.
Hotbox Jamaica. Chill.
Legalize it, yeah.
Relax. And burn all day while watching the amazing ocean view. Listen to the birds. Bathe in the mineral waters of the Ganja River. Munch on tasty Jamaican Rasta food. Take a weed farm tour and hold a meditation. Book this amazing vacation for $420. Get the Sativa Special. 7 nights in Sativa dorms with ganja meals and airport transfer. Check us out at hotboxjamaica.com. That's hotboxjamaica.com. Hotbox Jamaica, a higher meditation vacation.
Indigrow is your source for affordable induction grow lighting. First discovered in 1891 by Nikola Tesla, Indigrow lights deliver 11 years of electronic sunlight to your plants. Indigrow lamps require less than half the power of traditional HID lamps. Converting to Indigrow lights means you'll cut down on your power bill with less lighting. Indigrow lamps also use 5 times less mercury than traditional fluorescent or HID lamps, making Indigrow not only energy efficient but environmentally friendly as well. No more switching out lamps between vegetative and flowering stages. As nature intended, your lights get a steady dose of UV light. That makes your plants grow healthier and stronger. Indigrow products are manufactured in San Diego, California, and come with a written 10-year warranty. What Tesla knew, then growers know now, is that Indigrow lighting is the cost-effective addition to your victory garden. To learn more or order now, go to inda-grow.com. That's INDA-GRO.com. Or call 877-452-2244 to answer any of your questions. These guys really know lights. Indigrow really is your sunlight in a box.
Education and information. See what all the buzz is all about. It's time for hemp. It's time for hemp.
Strapped on some shoes, put on my coat. I'm heading for the door. It's time to go. It's just a short drive to paradise. Found a cash machine to fuel the dream.
That was Pot Fest, and you are listening to the Time for Hemp radio show on the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network on iHeartRadio. We are the only broadcasting network on iHeartRadio that is all cannabis. Soon to go into the Roku network as well. We are a wonderful team of people here. We got Muck Sticky on board. Judge James Gray does a show on the network. Emmy winner Ben Swans also won the Edward R. Murrow Award twice. He's going to expand his show into a 2-hour broadcast. Twice a week we broadcast in Spanish out of Chile and Argentina. And that'll be later on today. We do that Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then we've also got a show out of Paris, France. Every Friday we do in French. We're also broadcasting an hour now each week in Japanese and soon to be broadcasting in German as well as in English from England and Canada and America and all points around the world. And like a good joint, this network is best when shared with friends. We are having a joint discussion today with two of my joint friends, Paul Stanford and Vivian McPeak. Vivian McPeak is the founder of the Seattle Hemp Fest. Paul Stanford is the founder of the Portland Hemp Stock, two of the biggest hemp events in the United States. And Vivian, you've got some great singers, musicians, and speakers lined up, and a whole 3 days worth of events that people should become aware of, don't you?
Yeah, we do. I got to be honest with you, I don't know who the speakers are yet. The speakers committee is still working on pulling all that together. I haven't seen the list, but I can assure you that it's going to be a virtual who's who of the hemp and cannabis movement, like usual. And we got some great bands lined up as well. 120 acts are going to be playing. One of the cool bands is Heart to Heart, and that's got a couple members of the Seattle band Heart, along with Randy Hansen. And Bob Rivers, who is playing keyboards, who everybody knows from KJR and KZOK. It's been one of the top DJs up here for years. It'll be really fun to have those guys in. But, you know, Seattle Hemp Fest has hardly ever gotten recognition for all of the free Northwest and beyond music. It's a free music festival, and same thing for Hempstock. There's great music at Hempstock. I've emceed the event several times. And you know, what would cannabis be without music?
Exactly.
Or vice versa. I should actually say, what would music be without cannabis?
Well put. And it's the third weekend of August, isn't it?
Yep. It's always traditionally the third week in August. It'll be August 15th, 16th, 17th. On Friday, we open up at noon to 8 p.m., and on Saturday and Sunday, we're 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. And, we just got to hemp present, man, because things are hempening.
And it's going to be just one fantastic event after another from the time you open your gates to the time the last person walks out of the park. And it's got a beautiful view of everything in Seattle, and it's easy access. It's just a great event. Okay, well, and Paul, you might want to let people know about what's happening at yours if you do.
Well, we're back on. We got moved back by the City Parks Department to the last weekend in September. So we're September 27th and 28th, Saturday and Sunday. We have a stretch to 3 days, and Seattle is ambitiously done. But we got John Trudell, and Bad Dog is coming back, and some other acts we're working on, so we can't, name all the musical acts yet, but just look at hempstock.org and you'll find out more.
Now, Vivian, last year the police department was handing out snacks for the event. I think wasn't it burritos or Cheetos or something of that nature. They even got up there and did a welcome to Seattle speech and how it is that they're going to be working with the new laws and all that. Has the police department now been as mellow as they said they would when they're in their big announcement? Have they worked hand in hand with the new changes in the state? Have they been as gracious as they appeared they were going to be?
Well, I think we got it pretty good here in Seattle. You're talking about the Seattle Police Department, and as you know, back years ago in 2002, I believe, we passed I-75. We're making simple possession of marijuana the lowest police priority in the city limits, and I think that the Seattle Police Department has, in a large part, respected that. I'm not aware of a citation for public smoking being issued at HempFest for many years now, for several years. And it was very much an honor to have Sean Whitcomb, the Seattle Police Department spokesperson, up there last year, telling the crowd, how it's going to be with I-502 and handing out the Doritos, which got international media attention. They won't be doing that this year. He got in some trouble over that, actually. A lot of members of the department were very angry over that, and he was under the fire, but I think he survived it and came out doing okay. But they won't be doing that this year. There are also some limited changes happening this year that the city's making us do. They've got us putting up some 21 and over smoking areas. And, we're cooperating with it for two reasons. One is that we don't think that extremely young people, young teens, preteens, should be exposed to people doing mind-altering substances, that their minds and bodies are still developing, and it's better if they hold off on doing any mind-altering substance, legal or illegal. And so if you want adults to be able to imbibe and not do it in the presence of children, you need to give them a place to do it out of public view. And the second reason that we're going to cooperate with is because we feel that it's a vision of the future, that if we can make it work at HempFest, that there's sealed-off areas that you can't see through the fence and that adults can go in and imbibe with impunity. If we can make it work at HempFest, then that's the first step to having those at every big public event in Washington State. Now, will everybody be doing that this year at HempFest? I think it's going to be a process rather than an event. But that's a hint of probably what's to come.
Well, as big as HempFest is, it might be easier to put up a fenced area where you just stick your minors so they can't see
That's
out.
That's extremely true. That's very true, and that may take place someday.
Paul, I passed the question.
But we'd have people suggest that we became a 21 and over event, and the reason we don't want to do that. First of all, if you're 18 years old, you're old enough to go overseas and fight to the death to defend your country. And I think that the law should be 18, not 21. But I feel the same way about alcohol. If you're old enough to fight hand-to-hand combat, fly a helicopter, and all that stuff, I and walk around with an M16 or an AK-47 or whatever the current an M1, then you should be old enough to drink alcohol or smoke marijuana. But the other thing is if you're 18 years of age or if you're 15 years of age, you're going to be able to vote in just a couple years, and you're going to be able to determine your own destiny in this nation and the laws that you're going to be living under yourself. You know, a lot of young people have lost their Pell Grants, their student loans. They've gotten a marijuana felony on their record, and it can change their whole life. And so if you're 18 years old or even younger, I think you need to come hear our message of personal responsibility, freedom, and liberty, because you're going to be a voter in America. So it's very important that a free speech message gets out to everybody. So we're resisting being a 21 and over event right now.
And that's true with you too, Paul, isn't it?
Yes, that's true. It's an all-ages event, and so this year the city has said we have to enforce a no-smoking ban at the entire event. We'll be interested to see how that plays out. Our park is, just a fraction of the size of Myrtle Edwards Park in Seattle, so it's a lot smaller, but the event's smaller too. But we don't want to look, just as Vivian said, we don't want to throw out the next generation, throw them under the bus. And I think the age should be 18 as well. That's what it was for alcohol when I was a kid. Of course, they increased that. But we all know, at least the ones who listen to this show, that alcohol is a lot more causes a lot more impairment of a person's judgment and faculties. You don't black out with marijuana. So that happens with people. I think probably a good percentage of the people in most prisons are there for things they did when they were blacked out on alcohol.
And on alcohol, sometimes on alcohol, you wake up the next morning in bed with somebody you never wish you met, let alone be in bed with. So with that said, we're going to take a commercial break and pay our bills and then come back and pick up where we left off here at Time for Hemp. You are listening to the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network. Please share us with your friends.
If you are in the Portland, Oregon area and are an OMMP cardholder, then come down to Nikki's Diggity Dank Market, Portland, Oregon's first and only weekly OMMP market, presented by the Alternative Wellness Center, located at 5241 Southeast 72nd Avenue, 2 blocks south of Foster Boulevard, close to public transportation, held every Sunday 10 a.m. till 7 p.m., connecting quality vendors with patients. Nikki's Diggity Dank Market also has a weekly raffle with products from every vendor, so come down to Nikki's Diggity Dank Market and have fun while connecting with quality vendors and getting great natural medicine. If you are a vendor and want a chance to connect with OMMP patients, you can check out their Facebook page at facebook.com/Alternative Wellness Center or call 971-888-4392. Be sure to register early because space is limited. Nikki's Diggity Dank Market.
In need of a ganja vacation? Blaze away.
Don't criticize it.
Hotbox Jamaica. Chill. Relax and burn all day while watching the amazing ocean view. Listen to the birds. Bathe in the mineral waters of the Ganja River. Munch on tasty Jamaican Rasta food. Take a weed farm tour and hold a meditation. Book this amazing vacation for $420. Get the Sativa Special. 7 nights in Sativa dorms with ganja meals and airport transfer. Check us out at hotboxjamaica.com. That's hotboxjamaica.com. Hotbox Jamaica, a higher meditation vacation.
Indigrow is your source for affordable induction grow lighting. First discovered in 1891 by Nikola Tesla, Indigrow lights deliver 11 years of electronic sunlight to your plants. Indigrow lamps require less than half the power of traditional HID lamps. Converting to Indigrow lights means you'll cut down on your power bill with less lighting. Indigrow lamps also use 5 times less mercury than traditional fluorescent or HID lamps, making Indigrow not only energy efficient but environmentally friendly as well. No more switching out lamps between vegetative and flowering stages. As nature intended, your lights get a steady dose of UV light. That makes your plants grow healthier and stronger. Indigrow products are manufactured in San Diego, California, and come with a written 10-year warranty. What Tesla knew, then growers know now, is that Indigrow lighting is the cost-effective addition to your victory garden. To learn more or order now, go to inda-grow.com. That's INDA-GRO.com, or call 877-452-2244 to answer any of your questions. These guys really know lights. Indigrow really is your sunlight in a box.
Free? Did you say free? Free hemp? Free hemp? Free hemp video and audio? Free downloads of all the top artists, all the pot artists on planet Earth. Interviews with all the people making the movement, making the hemp movement. It's time for hemp. That's right, world. It's time for hemp. That's right, world. It's time for hemp.
Well, the Western had a bowl, good green reefer, big fat Jones beef, much sweeter. Mighty don't hide it. Mighty don't hide it. Well, mighty don't hide it. Mighty don't hide it. Well, mighty don't hide it. Fire up right now.
Yeah, baby, fire up right now. Be loud, be proud. Come out of the closet and tell the world that prohibition is a failed policy. And surprise, I smoke marijuana. Get over it. And, more people do that, the quicker this war on drugs is going to disappear. And if you're just sitting there trying to figure out if Ethel's going to keep Ricky from killing Lucy, or if Gilligan's going to get off the island, or if Fraser and Niles will ever get married again, you need to get your butt up off that couch and put one foot in front of the other and get out that door and become part of the solution. Because right now, if you're just sitting there watching the TV and listening to the world go by, you are part of the problem. Speaking to two people today who are part of the solutions, Paul Stanford, Vivian McPeak. Together they put on the two largest events in the marijuana movement in the United States. And it's quite an honor to be able to sit shoulder to shoulder with them in the same foxhole. And I say foxhole, war on drugs, because Vivian, we were talking on the break that the marijuana movement seems to me to be my family. When I was away from it, I didn't realize how lonely and empty I felt until I rejoined it again in the 90s when my mom passed from cancer and I had things to do. And it is a family. It's a group of people that come together in love, and we are a movement that's based in love, that moves in love, that acts in love. It's kind of a great thing, isn't it?
Well, it is. It is, and they call it the kind bud for a reason, man. Yes. I've never heard anybody call it the kind alcohol, even though I know there's a lot of kind people that enjoy alcohol. But it's true, the marijuana movement, the cannabis movement, the hemp movement are love movements to me, peace movements. It's an anti-war movement, fighting the drug war. And I think that prohibition is very clearly a hate movement. It's been generated by hate. It's been based in hate since the very first days when they tried to blame everything on people of color and jazz musicians. And then then it became, you're a bunch of hippies and you smell and you're lazy. They take people's kids away from them and give them to strangers who tell their children that your parents didn't love you and they're criminals. I mean, is there anything more vicious you can do to somebody than take their kids away and give them to a stranger? So, no, it's really true. And we have a banner on the main stage every year that's a big pot leaf and it says Seattle Hemp Fest Hate Free Zone. And we're melting those polar ice caps of hate, hopefully faster than our real polar ice caps are melting.
Well, I know Paul's dealt with it up here in Portland as well, putting together the Portland Hemp Stock. His group is an amazing group of people. I'll tell you, from Bill in Red to the person who just joined the team yesterday. It seems like everybody on Paul's team, like your team, Vivian, has a warm spirit and a glow of love. And Paul, you've had the same problems here in the state of Portland as well, though you've demonstrated, both of you, how you can stand up to hate and be strong and fight back and still maintain your love. Right, Paul?
Indeed, that's what we have to do. That's where minds are changed. Violence doesn't usually change minds; it just hardens them. You can only really change minds through love and cooperation, and that's what we want to do. I don't want to hate anybody. It's not fun. Where love is fun, and you feel good.
Yeah,
so
I want to add that I agree. First of all, I've always been loved at Hemp Stocking, and Paul has an incredible organization of wonderful spirits, it's just always been an honor to be involved with Hemp Stock. Like I said, I've emceed many times, and I think
hope you can again this year.
Yeah, I hope to be. I just heard when the weekend's going to be. I'll have to check my calendar, and I certainly hope to be there. But at HempFest, we at the very early stages, we've proclaimed on our stage every year that we have no human enemies. We are out to fight and defeat prohibition, but we don't hate any human beings, and we don't need to make it personal like that, because that gives them fuel.
Well, and I think it also depicts the difference between the plant and alcohol. With alcohol, when you're drunk, you fight, get violent. And when you smoke marijuana, you get more conscientious of the world around you, more thoughtful of other people. And I think the plant itself even entices love.
Yep.
I agree.
And I want to take go ahead, Paul. Go ahead, man.
No, I was just going to say, we've got to start advocating for the benefits of marijuana, how good it is, and stop this mindset out there that somehow it's bad. And it has so many attributes. It's a positive thing. But go ahead, Vivian.
I completely agree. I was just going to say that, and since we're on the subject of love, I would be remiss if I did not send out some love to my biggest comrade in HempFest, Sharon Whitson, and the entire HempFest Central crew. We've got an amazing office crew. It's only been in existence for about a couple of years now, because we worked out of our homes for many years. But Sharon takes on a load beyond anything that I could ever handle, as far as the nuts and bolts of putting the HempFest together and everything. So I just want to, while I have the chance, to send out some love to Sharon and everybody at HempFest Central.
Yeah, I'd like to do the same. Sharon is a remarkable lady. And your store there is remarkable too. I just went there for the first time and picked up a few posters and other assorted goodies. Somebody wants to support Seattle HempFest, they can definitely do it by going there and picking up some of the T-shirts. And
let us know about your store you've got there, Vivian. What can be found in the store there, and how do where's it located?
Well, HempFest Central is a little hemp boutique with our offices in back. And it's at 12351 Lake City Way Northeast in Lake City in North Seattle, right by Lake City and 125th. But, people can buy, just about everything except the glass interstate on our website at hempfest.org. We've got most of our merchandise up there as well.
And is there still room for vendors to come on board if they're wanting to be part of it, or is it too late for that to happen, or what?
I believe that food vending is sold out, but we do still have some vending slots. People can go to hempfest.org, click on vending, and you look at the map. You see which booths are available. You pick your top 5 booths in case somebody buys the one you want while you're doing it, and you pay for it, and everything's right there on the website. You can take care of everything right on the website.
23 years.
Same for sponsorships. Same for sponsorships and vending or volunteering and everything.
23 years you've been doing this, right? This is the 23rd year?
Oh, yeah. When I started, I didn't have any gray hairs, and now I hardly have any that aren't.
Your top 3 favorites so far, top 3 favorite years that you think were just really significant to the structure and to the whole scheme of Seattle Hemp Fest that made it. Your 3 most important events are.
Oh, wow. Out of 23, I think the first year of Hemp Fest was remarkable because it was the first year that Jack Hare came and spoke for us. Even though we did an event the year before at Westlake Park with Jack, and that was really the seed of Hemp Fest being planted. But that first year is spectacular because, that's the year that we figured out that this was a popular idea and that we really had struck a nerve and they were onto something. We better keep it going on. Then in 2001 was the first year that Woody Harrelson came. He came twice, came also in 2003. People can go on to YouTube and go Seattle Hemp Fest, Woody Harrelson, and see the amazing response that the crowd, he's absolutely the most popular person that's ever spoke from our stage. It's a virtual roar, and that showed up in our documentary, Hemp Fest, No Prison for Pot, that we did in 2002. And then I have to say last year with the police giving out the Doritos, and I was on Geraldo Rivera, I was on CNN, we had Mexican, Japanese, French, even I was even on the phone with Chinese journalists. It got international media attention that the police handed out Doritos with a little message about the parameters of I-502, and that was, and so I think those are the three years I think that in my mind and my heart were kind of the most spectacular. But every year has amazing things, it's just kind of melts into one big blur of excitement and achievement and meltdowns and drama and human exhaustion. I mean, at the end of Hemp Fest, we take possession of the park on Monday before the weekend event, and then we rage Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then we're not out of there till Wednesday, and we have 3 days to tear everything down, pack it out, clean it up. At the end of it, working 16-hour days for 11, 12 days in a row, I've never been so exhausted in my entire life. A couple of years ago on Friday night of the VIP party, which only happens on the first night of Hemp Fest, it was the year that my book, Protestival, a 20-year retrospective of Seattle Hemp Fest, came out. And so they wanted me to go and sign books at the VIP party. And I recall being so tired, so exhausted, that I couldn't spell people's names. I was trying to write, and I couldn't even spell people's names. And then a good dear friend who's worked at Hemp Fest for 15 years, his wife came along me to sign a book, and I had to act like I was doing something else for about 8 minutes because I couldn't remember her name. I was that exhausted, and that was Friday. There were still 2 days to go.
Wow. How long did it take you to recover?
Oh, it takes a week before you can walk without your joints hurting. I mean, it's an amazing fire walk. It's like a journey pulling thing off. But and it's stressful for me because I've got to talk to the media the whole time, and I've got to everything that's going wrong comes into my ear through my radio. I hear about everything that's not going right for the whole event, and it wears on you, man. It's just very stressful. And you can't screw up. You're talking to the media. Paul knows this. You got to be on your game, and if they ask you a question, you got to have an answer. And it's got to make sense, and there's so much writing on it for both of us. If you do something wrong, the whole movement could feel the pain. And
you got to be calm and collected on top of all of that.
Oh yeah, and sleep's at a premium. Often I literally the days before Hemp Fest, I wake up at 5 a.m. I can't get back to sleep.
Yeah.
And man, do I need those extra hours of sleep. But you just got to get through it. You just got to get through it because there's somebody waking up in prison too.
Well, that's why I wanted to get a hold of you about a month before the event, so that I still had you when you had energy And that way we weren't in your way as we were trying to help bring attention to your hard work and to the amazing team of people there at the Seattle Hemp Fest. I tell you, everyone on your team, too, moves in love, acts in love, represents a good sense of humor and a smile, and seems to move with a positive energy. I bumped into a good number of members of your team who were either working with the food or working with security or working with transportation. And I tell you, every single member of your team seems to move in the same step as you. So you're very lucky to have those people around you.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be a part of your great show, too.
Thank you.
Especially with one of my best buddies, Paul, and the entire movement.
Which is, we're down to the last couple of minutes, so Vivian, let people know how they can, how many days in advance should they get their hotel rooms lined up? How soon should they get their reservations for the Hemp Fest and all that cool stuff? I'll just hush. If you were talking to somebody in West Virginia who said, I'm coming to the Seattle Hemp Fest, what do I do and how soon should I get there? Your answer would be?
My answer would be go to hempfest.org, click on the attendees page. There's a list of just about every hotel and campground and all that stuff there. And if I were them, I'd do it today.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, those hotels book.
Excellent.
They book up. So if you want to be close, now's the time. Last week, maybe.
Oh, I mean, I'm telling you, yes. I mean, I think some of them are probably already booked that are real close. But I think that the Homewood Suites, that's a real nice place. We have a new Thomas Street footbridge that goes right across into the main stage area. And the Homewood Suites is right there, right in front of it. And then the Edgewater, of course, for folks that can spend the money, famous from the Beatles and Led Zeppelin staying in it and stuff. And that's just a few blocks down the street. But there's the Ace Hotel, which is really great, cheap, kind of campy, counterculture hotel. There's a lot of good places. But you got to get on it.
And like you said, 120 musical acts, about just as many guest speakers. Anybody who is anybody in the marijuana movement will be there if they can, and everybody who loves marijuana will be there if they can. Is that right?
Well,
that's right.
A good portion. A good portion.
There you go. All right, and Paul, you and I jointly work on a program that you started 16 years ago called Cannabis Common Sense, and you've got a lot going here. Here's a time to give a shout-out to the events and the things around you.
Sure. Cannabis Common Sense. We stream it on YouTube. You can find it on our website. We have a web portal. It's hemp.org. They'll get you to all of our sites. We have clinics across the country helping people get medical marijuana permits. And we have a lot of things going on. The Hemp Stock event is HEMPSTALK.org. So you can get there, too, from hemp.org. It's been a real pleasure being on the show with you, Viv. And as always, Casper, hopefully we'll get you up on our TV show sometime soon. Maybe just for the Hemp Stock Festival. We'll see if that works out.
We'd love it, Viv. We'd love to see you with us.
Hopefully you'll be recuperated by then.
There you go. And let me give a shout-out once again for the network. We have an amazing team of people, from Chris Conrad and Judge James Gray to Paul Stanford to Muck Sticky, who are doing programs here on the big broadcast. We start broadcasting live every morning sometime between 7 and 9 a.m., and we rock and roll clear at about 2 a.m. some days. And our mission is one thing and one thing only: to end the prohibition in every spot on the planet and let the whole world know it really is time for hemp.
Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they spent. Take another look and spend some time for hemp. Don't cut trees for paper, 'cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yes, it's time for hemp. Whoa, an acre of hemp makes 20 bales of oil. No need for pesticides to poison